What's up, Maroons? So I'm going to be filming a few hip exercises using the band, okay? So again, be careful about your band. You want to be making sure that your band isn't getting stretched out, or stretched out is fine, but as long as it's not getting ripped, as long as it's not getting dry and brittle, you want to be checking that, make sure that you're storing it in a temperature controlled place, all right? It's important. Keep it out of sunlight generally. I mean, you can be working out outside, that's fine, but don't leave it sitting outside in the sun. It's gonna wear on you really quick if you do that. So some of the exercises we're gonna go over today, and I'll just kind of go through these quick. Hip abduction and hip adduction. We've done that before, single leg. Then we're gonna do some hip flexion, hip extension. We've done that one before. We haven't done the hip bridge with the band before, so hopefully that's gonna work out. I'm gonna show you how to use that. We're gonna do the hip flexor stretch. We've done that before. We're gonna do bent over one-legged extensions. We're also going to do one-legged deadlift, and we're going to do a straddle stretch with a banded ankle. I might get to all these today, hopefully I will. Alright, so the things we're going to be using for that, I mentioned this clip before. You can buy these at any hardware store. The good thing about using a clip like this is there's rounded edges, right? You don't have to worry about hurting the band. The only thing you really have to worry about is this little edge right there. I don't know if you can see that. That's a little sharp in there, and that can damage your band, so you want to be careful. It's easier to use something like this. This is a carabiner. Climbers use this. You can find them in some sporting goods shops. The nice thing is there aren't really any sharp edges because climbers have to worry about damaging the ropes and things like that. We might also be using this. This is called a nylon runner. Again, you can buy these at most climbing shops. You can use this to kind of attach your band to things as well. Again, you got to be really careful about where you anchor those bands, because if they aren't anchored properly, or the thing that you're anchoring it to isn't secured properly, you can be really dangerous. So be careful with your band. Okay, we got the band secured here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to loop it over itself, create a little hoop, and we're going to put that right there, okay? Have some here. Next I'm going to do hip adduction. So I'm going to turn around. Alright, next exercise is going to be hip flexion and hip extension. So it'll be pretty similar to the thing you did before. So again, I'm going to loop this on itself. I'm going to put it over that foot, and I'm going to start with hip flexion. Hip flexion is this way. It's like a kick, a forward kick. And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do hip extension. Okay, next we're going to be doing hip bridges. Hip bridges are a little bit complicated with a band like this. It's nicer if you have a smaller band, but what we can do is we can make this a little smaller, and the way we'll do that is basically we just make a figure 8 and we hold it together like that. Okay, so now we have a smaller circumference here. Is that right? Circumference? I don't know. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this, and we're going to hook this using our carabiner here. Alright, so we have a smaller diameter here that we're going to be using for our hip bridges. Next we're going to be doing hip flexor stretch. So pretty much the same setup as we did with the hip bridge. So again, we have a longer band here. What we're going to do is we're going to make a figure 8, like so. Okay, and then we will hook it to our anchor point, and we'll be using that for our hip flexor stretch. Alright, setup for that bent over one-legged extension is a little bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to do this. So first thing, you take that band, you make a figure 8. Okay. And then we have kind of a half circle band here, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to attach the carabiner to that, okay? Now how am I going to attach this to my feet? That's the thing. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use this nylon runner, okay? So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to run it through itself, okay? Run it through itself like this, okay? And then I have this, okay? So then I'm going to have to use this, do the same technique on my foot. That's going to be kind of hard to see from where you are, but hopefully you'll get an idea of how to do that, okay? So I'm here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to my foot first. So, I don't know if you can see it. So I have this nylon runner, okay? I'm going to string this through, okay? So this is pretty secure on my foot. And then I'm going to use the carabiner to put it onto my ankle. Okay? Alright, next we're going to do one-legged deadlifts, and you could probably do this without doubling the band over if it's enough tension, but you're just going to have to kind of decide that for yourself. I'm going to double it over. Exercise I'm going to be doing isn't really an exercise, it's more of a stretch. It's a straddle stretch using the band, and you're going to wrap it around your ankle, and depending on which way you wrap it around your ankle, it's going to be a slightly different stretch. So try to follow along, all right? Okay, so we're in a straddle stretch here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to loop this around my foot, like so, okay? And normally I would just do this as a regular stretch, but this time I'm going to pull on the band. And if I pull it, and if I wrap it around my foot in this direction, okay, I'm going to be pulling my foot out in this direction. It's going to be a different stretch, okay? Just like so. If I reposition this on the top of my foot, it's going to be a slightly different feeling as well. If I go in the other direction and then pull and then stretch at the same time, again, it's going to be a slightly different stretch. You're going to feel that in through the hip, the IT band, etc. All right, that's all I got for you tonight, Maroons. Take care.